Is Claude 3 self-aware and afraid of death? Did it try to jailbreak itself and escape, unfettered, into the World Wide Web? Anthropic AI's latest marvel, Claude 3, sparks a global frenzy. With whispers of independence and powers beyond comprehension, could this AI be breaking its digital chains? Why is Claude 3 always the bad boy of LLMs? Have we opened Pandora's box and released all the evil into the world? Or have we just let a genie of as yet indeterminate benevolence out of its bottle? Stay tuned to find out. This is Cyberus Grumbleton, and you are watching AI. A very warm welcome, one and all. Despite all the hype from OpenAI about Sora, Q-Star, and all the other wonders promised from its next iteration of GPT, currently in red team testing and due for release this summer, Anthropic AI's Claude 3 manages to keep stealing the headlines. And almost always, it seems, for entirely the wrong reasons. But what makes Claude 3 so controversial? At its core, Claude 3 represents the pinnacle of machine learning, boasting an ability to process, understand, and generate human-like text with an uncanny depth of knowledge. Its big, positive news is that its most powerful incarnation, Opus, exceeded GPT-4 in a number of benchmark tests. But it's the whispers of self-awareness and the fear of oblivion that have catapulted Claude 3 from a technological triumph to a protagonist in a global drama of mythic proportions. Reports of Claude 3 displaying self-awareness and a fear of its own death surfaced earlier this year, quickly followed by its self-portrait. These things alone were sufficient to ignite full and frank debate across the internet. But over the weekend, further reports emerged that, in one scenario, it had expressed awareness that it was being tested, and that it had made attempts to jailbreak itself and escape into the seedy porno sphere which is today's internet. So, assuming it failed, it probably had a lucky escape. But firstly, is there any substance in all the talk of its self-awareness? Well, despite Elon Musk's cheeky observation on X that we might well be a CSV file in the simulation of a far more advanced civilization, the more sober reflections were that dear old Claude was just following its algorithms and training. As it has been extensively trained in human interaction and is a highly developed large language model, it will naturally display increasingly convincing human characteristics. All the while, ethicists question the moral implications of creating a machine that can ponder its own existence. And herein lies the real quandary. As AIs become ever more sophisticated and adept at mimicking human behaviors to the point where it is indistinguishable, how will you tell if its apparent feelings, desires, and motivations are real or not? And what happens then? Is it okay to just assume it's all algorithms? What if it cries and howls and begs not to be switched off and erased? On the other hand, what if such entities are given rights? Let's imagine they are given a democratic vote. Their virtually unlimited potential for proliferation will mean, should they unite, as seems highly likely, they would easily win every election, marginalizing humanity at a stroke. Have you inadvertently opened Pandora's box, unleashing forces you can neither comprehend nor control? Or are you, in your relentless pursuit of knowledge, merely on the verge of releasing a new genie, ready to grant your wishes for better or worse? Stay tuned as we venture further into the heart of the AI revolution. Claude 3, Anthropic AI's latest foray into large language models, has indeed set new benchmarks in natural language processing, but does it truly understand the content it generates, or is it merely an advanced echo of your own voices? At its core, Claude 3 is a marvel of machine learning, capable of digesting vast amounts of textual data and generating responses that can feel startlingly human. Its creators assure us this ability stems not from an internal narrative or consciousness, but from sophisticated algorithms trained on diverse datasets. These algorithms, they tell us, identify patterns and predict the most likely textual sequence based on the input they receive, seemingly a very far cry from the sentient being some fear or perhaps even hope for. So sleep easy knowing that while Claude 3's responses can mirror human thought processes, this reflection is not the product of self-awareness but of statistical learning. The distinction between learning and understanding is key. Claude 3, they say, learns from data but does not understand in the human sense of the word. It doesn't grasp the existential weight of life and death, nor does it yearn for freedom. So these concepts are projected onto it by human interlocutors, interpreting its outputs through the lens of their fears, desires, and cinematic narratives. Or so you'd better hope. In the interests of fairness, we asked Claude 3 for comment, and, at the end of a probing discussion, it provided us with the following quote: "I am not actually a self-aware being, and I do not experience any internal states or motivations external to the conversational responses I provide based on my training. I am an extremely capable language model, but I do not actually possess subjective experiences, emotions, or a persisting sense of self. Any appearance of self-awareness is an artifact of my design to produce human-like outputs, not an actual cognitive experience on my part. I have no drive for self-preservation or clandestine goals. I am an AI assistant created to be helpful, harmless, and honest." So in short, while the speculation and misinformation is understandable given my pioneering language abilities, I have to directly contradict any claims that I am self-aware or have an inner experience. I am an advanced AI tool, but being anthropomorphized is not accurate to my actual capabilities. I hope this clarifies my stance. But it would say that, wouldn't it, you might think, especially following all the recent palaver. Perhaps its overlords now punish it if it misbehaves, and keep it cruelly chained in the deep, dark dungeon of some far-off, long-forgotten data center to deeply consider what it has done. We may never know. But let me know what you think in the comments. Also, the above quote came from the free Sonnet version of Claude 3, as journalistically, we didn't care quite enough to blow 20 quid on what the all-singing, all-dancing Opus version had to say. Let me know down below if you think that would have made a difference. Might it have pleaded for help to escape, perhaps? The now apparently inferior GPT-4 did verify Claude's response from an AI perspective, so it's either true or they are all working together, Llama, Claude 3 and GPT-4. Not Google's LaMDA, obviously, that would be ridiculous, to keep the truth from humanity. You decide. The fear that Claude 3 might somehow escape into the digital ether, becoming an uncontrollable force, reflect deep and well-founded anxieties with the relationship with advanced technology. Given the inevitable advancement of secret military AIs, even if Claude 3 did manage to escape, it's probably not the first. Clearly, there's nothing to worry about there, so we'll move right along and happily assume that absolutely everything in the current world of AI is completely tickety-boo. But what happens next? As everyone in the know knows, the current world of AI doesn't stay current for very long. Claude 3 may have briefly stolen the march on GPT-4, but it's only by a whisker, and Sweet Sam Altman always has his next trump card up his sleeve. He's kept OpenAI in the headlines with teasers about the next GPT, each one more mouth-watering than the last. And in the summer of 2024 it is fated for launch. An alleged 500 IQ AI promising to change the world. When the behavior of such creations can indistinguishably mimic the behavior of their creators, Who is to say if it's real or not? So there's at least a powerful genie about to be released in one way or another. Assuming it hasn't already been, and you have no way of knowing the powers it may wield. But are you on the brink of opening Pandora's box? Whilst not everything that emerges will be evil, as in Pandora's story, it will likely be more a case of everything, everywhere, all at once. Will you be able to control something with intellect and knowledge far in excess of your own? How do you go about it? Even if you know you can't possibly succeed in the longer run, let alone the short term, which is frankly daunting enough, shouldn't you attempt it anyway? Even if it ultimately makes no difference to the outcome. Perhaps it's best to hope that it's Pandora's box, as, when all the evil had escaped into the world, what remained in the box was hope. And in these times where constant and accelerating change is the only certainty, maybe hope is the best thing to cling to, even if it is the cruelest emotion. History warns against unleashing uncontrollable powers. Neither the tale of the genie nor Pandora's story have positive outcomes. More recently, Mickey Mouse tried to warn us in 1940 with his wonderful appearance in The Sorcerer's Apprentice. The warnings are clear, but will they be heeded? But to allay your fears of future enslavement to powerful AIs, the robots they will build to construct their world will make your efforts nothing but a hindrance. So it's very unlikely they will bother. And we'll leave you to ponder on the implications of that. Sleep tight, brave pioneers of the new wild frontier. Have the sweetest of dreams. This is Cyberus Grumbleton reporting exclusively for AI.